My first attempt at making a mold for a wide fender to accommodate the wide wheels on the car. The things I found out, of course I'm not an expert, but I can tell you the trouble that I had, okay? The first layer that I put down was a fleece layer, which was fine. I didn't have no problems with it. Kept it stretched and everything. The problem that I have is the fiberglass. This is just for doing this is a mold. This is all it was. It wasn't the actual fender. It was going to be a mold. This is not the way you want to go about it. I don't care how good you get at this stuff. It's just a waste of time. I'm gonna probably end up scrapping this mold here. I mean, I'll keep it as an actual reference of my next one. But it just, I mean, because I've got to do it while it's formed. I did a form on the fender, so I'd have an idea of, you know, it's going to direct bolt on as soon as I'm done when I do the actual fender itself inside this mold and pull it apart. And this was the first time I ever did it, so I knew that there was going to be problems. First of all, I'm using the wrong kind of resin. I didn't know. I mean, I know that there's epoxy resin for body parts and carbon fiber, which was what this is going to be eventually. But I had some, before I knew what I was buying, I had some, it's that bar top epoxy. And that's what I had. Now, let me tell you something. The problem is with that, you could make a mold out of it if the temperature is 80, 90 degrees. If it drops down, it's probably about 69 degrees here. If it drops down to like it's kind of cooler and it's the humidity or it's moist, of course it's been pouring down the rain, it's thick, it's like jelly, and it doesn't want to soak into the fiberglass at all. Now you see these air pockets, and that's what this is. It's just, my gather is the epoxy just would not soak into the, I even took stuff and rubbed it, tried to rub it in and all that stuff. It was just too thick. So this is definitely going to get scrapped. I'm going to do it. I learned a little bit about this. My next attempt is, I ordered the right epoxy for this. My next attempt is, I'm not using this, I guess you'd call it cloth, not weave, it's cloth, and it's this stuff here, which I'm sure it has its purposes of whatever you want to do. You see, you got the big fibers. This is not what you want to use when you're actually doing this, because every time you try to get this to go down, see this right here? This stuff here will stick, and it just keeps coming apart no matter what you do. If I walked over there, and this has been setting for a while, if I walked over and started pushing on it, you'd start pulling fibers off of it. The fibers just, it sticks to everything. Of course, you got to wear gloves when you're doing this, so when you're trying to get this worked in, it's sticking, you're pulling the fibers off, and I mean, it's just doing all kinds of craziness. So this definitely is not the way to go. I'm not sure what that you would use this for as far as being an easy, quick job that you could actually just get a good form down. I don't know, because you can see the fibers, and I mean, this stuff's wet. I mean, there ain't no doubt about it. If I sit there and pushed in on this, them bubbles would just move around. It's just where that stuff was so thick, the resin, it would not soak through those fibers. So I don't know if you can thin the stuff down, maybe add a thinner to it, and it'd still work out. I'm not sure. If anybody's got a comment, I know this, like I said, it's just something that I've gotten into. This is the first thing I've done. So I'm going to try some kind of weaved material over top of my existing form that I build and see how that works, and just do a few of them over top of it. It would be neat, and I can actually cut it to fit and then just put it down, which that would be a lot easier to me. I mean, I don't know how many layers I'd have to put down, but like I said, this isn't even going to be dry. It'll be dry tomorrow sometime. Like I said, I used a bar top epoxy. That's all I had, and I was wanting to practice. And I knew that this first one was not going to turn out. It just wasn't. I mean, this is just too much stuff. Like I said, I mean, it's soaked, but you can see when I was trying to push it in, it was just the fibers were coming right off. Like they were sticking to me, and they weren't laying down very good. I tried a little roller and all, it just stuck to the roller and it just kept coming off. So, I mean, give me a comment, you know, whether it's negative or plus, you know what I mean, if something I need to know. If I've watched some videos, but a lot of people that I've been watching, they haven't been using this type of fiberglass for anything. They've been using the actual weave fiberglass. And I think I'm going to go ahead and try to get some of that, and maybe some polyester like weave or something, because all this is just a form that I'm going to pull my actual part from. This is just a mock-up, and this is how it went. So if you're, you know, it takes some practice. I mean, it's just something you're just not going to get the first time you ever do it. I mean, maybe you do, maybe you don't. I didn't. It just wasn't the thing. I did a fleece over top of it, which was fine. I mean, it was easy. I got it hardened up, but the thing is, fleece it's just not as, once you put epoxy on it and it soaks through, which it did, it soaked through. I kept coating it until it just saturated it. But the problem is fleece is just not a strong enough bond as far as being, it just moves too much. You can't use it just by itself unless you did probably, you know, 5 or 6, 7 layers of it over top of each other. Maybe you might be able to get that to work, but I don't know. So that's what I've come up with. Like and subscribe. Give me a comment. You know, whatever. Thanks for watching.